Hello children, welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to learn Part 2 Tech Bloomers, which is given in 10th Standard Samachir Kalvi as Chapter 5. In the previous session, we have learned how technology transformed Alicia's life. In this class, we are going to learn how technology enables David to communicate and to be independent. David is just 21 years old. He says that technology is very important because it enables him to communicate and be independent, which gives him freedom. You know, David was born with athetoid cerebral palsy. What is athetoid cerebral palsy? So now he is David. You can see. And can you see the brain? Here, what part is affected means midbrain, no? So that is affected, it got damaged. So, athetoid cerebral palsy, also known as dyskinetic cerebral palsy. It is a movement disorder caused by damage to the developing brain. So here, damage is caused to the developing brain. This type of cerebral palsy is characterized by abnormal involuntary movement. So because of tightening of muscles, is unable to communicate properly and do any physical movement. For verbal communication, David uses a liberator communication device which he controls with his eye movements. It has a Bluetooth adapter, so it lets him use any PC or Mac by sending commands through the liberator. It was a great feeling when I learned to use it. It took me a couple of weeks. Communicating with people was very difficult before. So in order to make verbal communication, what is verbal communication? Verbal communication is the use of sounds and words to express ourselves, especially in contrast to using gestures or mannerism. Making gestures is a type of non-verbal communication. An example of verbal communication is saying no when someone asks you to do something you don't want to do. If someone asks you to do something you don't want to do, what do you say? You say no, isn't it? So we use words in order to communicate. So in order to make verbal communication, David uses what kind of device? He used liberator communication device. Liberator communication device. So communicating with people was very difficult before. After using liberator communication device, it became easy for David. So this is Bluetooth adapter and this is his chair where liberator communication device is fixed. So this is with the help of this device, he could communicate with the people. He uses an Act 4 controller. Where is the Act 4 controller? He has an Act 4 controller also in the headrest of his chair in his bedroom. So this is in the headrest of his chair. He has Act 4 controller. He has at the headrest of his chair, and with the help of it, he can control his TV, Blu-ray and music players. David was born with athetoid cerebral palsy and attends a specialist school and college. As I told you about athetoid cerebral palsy, so he was suffering with athetoid cerebral palsy. So, and he attends a specialist school. He attends a specialist school. What is specialist school? There are schools which was specialized in teaching students with a disability. He has been using a high-tech communication aid since he was 8 years old. He has been interested in AAC, that is augmentative and alternative communication and technology ever since. So it had been a great feeling when he had learned to use it. It was exceptional according to him. It had took him only a few weeks. Before this technology come to his hand, he found very difficult to communicate with people. He had an active controller, a device in the headrest of his chair in his bedroom, which meant he could control his TV, Blu-ray and music players. So this is David. He is just 21 years old. He now uses an Echo 2 with Echo Point. Making his selections with your foot switch. So initially he had switch at the headrest, but now he could make the selection with your foot switch once he has fixed his gaze on the icon that is required. He has a smaller communication aid. It has been mounted on his walker. It is essential that much of his spare time is spent in the performing arts. David is also a keen sportsman, regularly playing football, bocce, hockey and baseball. He is a sports leader and uses his Echo 2 linked to an interactive whiteboard to teach PE lessons. What is it? PE means physical education lessons. So, David uses yet another device known as Echo 2, so which consists of 144 icons with Echo Point. In order to select an icon, a small picture which is displayed on the screen. So in order to select an icon on the screen, he used foot switch. Once he has fixed his steady intent look on the icon that is required, it will get processed, and depending upon the message he wants to communicate, he has to look on that icon. It has been mounted on his walker. David has divergent thinking. So I'll tell you, David has 144 icons on the screen that he uses with Echo Point eye gaze. So Echo 2 consists of how many icons? 144 icons. When David first tried this access method, his response was, "I like it. It makes me faster. When can I have one?" Now David uses his Echo 2 and Echo Point to access the curriculum, study for his GCSE, order food and communicate while he is in restaurants and argue with his friends and argue with his brother. You name it, David can communicate it. David has divergent thinking, that is, he is a creative person and showed much interest in performing arts like music. He also showed his eagerness in regularly playing football, bocce, hockey and baseball. He is a sports leader and he teaches his physical education lessons using Echo 2, which is linked to an interactive whiteboard. So he teaches even what? Physical education lessons by linking Echo 2 with the whiteboard. David will now use his echo tool to speak in complete sentences with the correct syntax. It has increased the number of words he uses meaningfully and comments socially using the language of his peers, thereby becoming a confident and competent communicator. David has recently been working on idioms with his SLT, his latest being. Mom has got a lot on her plate. David is also an advocate to other students who use AAC and shows them how easy it is to communicate using the AC method. So David, he uses Echo 2 and Echo Point to access curriculum. Then also he studies for his GCSE. David has 144 icons, as I told you. So he uses Echo Point eye gaze in order to access those icons. He loved it. Finally, David uses Echo 2 and Echo Point to access the curriculum, his subject content, and study for his GCSE. What is GCSE? General Certificate of Secondary Education. He used it to order food while he is in restaurant and communicate and argue with his brother. David used Echo 2 to speak in complete sentences with the correct syntax. Yes, David used Echo 2 to speak in complete sentences with the correct syntax, that is without any grammatical errors. It has increased the number of words in his vocabulary. He used it meaningfully. He commented among his age groups. Peers belong to the same age groups. People who belong to the same age groups can be called as peers. Thereby, he became confident and competent. Having necessary ability, knowledge or skill to do something successfully, and became fully efficient and capable. David has recently been working on idioms. He worked on idioms with his SLT. What is SLT? Speech Language Therapy. His latest idiom is Mom has got a lot on her plate. Before telling the meaning of this sentence, I would like to tell you what is idiom. They are words or phrases that aren't meant to be taken literally. For example, if you say, someone has cold feet, it doesn't mean their toes are actually cold. It means they are nervous about something. He missed the boat. It means he missed out an opportunity. I go out for walks once in a blue moon. It means I go out for walk very rarely. I have a lot on my plate. I have so many things to do at a time. Being a mom and teacher, I always have a lot on my plate every time. It means she has many things to do at one time. So likewise, what David says, Mom has got a lot on her plate. It means that Mom has to do a lot of things, that is many things to do at one time. David is also an advocate to other students who use AAC and shows them how easy it is to communicate using the AC method. That is, David also is very helpful to others. He teaches the rules and methods to be followed in using AAC and shows them how easy it is to communicate by using the AC method. He controls his PlayStation with a bespoke switch system. He also controls his PlayStation with a bespoke switch system. What is bespoke? Ask in advance. That is, a product can be made on the specifications of persons who orders it. So, a PlayStation is made depending upon the specifications of persons. He uses it, he controls it. He drives his electric wheelchair and uses the Echo Point eye gaze system to communicate and access the computer to check on how the Chelsea football team is doing and send and receive text messages. As I told you, he has keen interest in sports, particularly football, baseball, hockey. So, he is very eager to know the scores of Chelsea football team. When he is at home, he also plays MP3 on his Echo 2 from morning till night. As I told you, he is very much interested in arts. So, he loved music. So, he played his MP3 and listened to the music from the morning till night. David has recently been selected to travel to Brazil to work with Olympic opening ceremony team as part of the remix drama group. So even he has been selected as part of remix drama group to work with the Olympic opening ceremony team. So he has been selected to travel to Brazil. Why is technology important according to David? Technology is important according to David because it enables him to communicate and be independent. Which instrument does David control with his eye movements? David uses a liberator communication device for verbal communication. He controls it with his eye movements. What devices help David to move from one place to another? Liberator communication device, Act 4 controller, AAC device and Echo 2 with Echo Point are the devices that helps David to move from one place to another. Next, let us know few Indian innovations. Firstly, Leachel shoes. Leachel shoes is smart footwear that navigates its users with vibrations. It always points to the direction you want to go. Leachel shoes by Crispian Lawrence. So here is Crispian Lawrence. This GPS and Bluetooth enabled shoes help the disabled navigate streets based on instructions from map software on smartphone. The app also records route and counts steps. Yet another Indian innovation, Blee Watch. Blee Tech innovation inventor Blee Watch. The co-founders of Blee Tech Innovations are Nupura Kirloskar and John V. Joshi of Mumbai. This smartwatch for the hearing impaired converts sound waves into vibrations and color codes to alert users to emergency sounds and ringing doorbells. It even helps them feel the rhythm of music. Both are 25 years old and invented Blee Watch, a smart watch for hearing impaired. Blee Watch is the first product of Blee Tech innovation where they essentially convey different sounds like doorbells, baby crying, fire alarm, any sound through vibrations and visual alerts. So the watch will listen to your environment whenever any sound occurs. If that is already in your app, you'll get notified for it. Next Indian innovation, that is iGest. iGest was invented by Anil Prabhakar, IITM professor and co-founder of Enability Technologies. This wearable device tracks gestures of speech impaired people and speaks for them. iGest is a kinematic sensor-based system that is designed to learn existing motor capacity through a gesture recognition algorithm. Movement is captured with your sensors installed in the device. Through the sensors, gross movements like arm movements, head movements, and gestures are recognized and recorded. I guess technology makes your life easier. Maybe it means you can keep in touch with your family, you can talk to, and even see relatives who live far away. Even online education, shopping, these all possible using the technology. Well, Kim has shown me that technology can do even more for young disabled people like me. It can help us make friends, communicate, and control our environment. Like turning the lights on and off. It can help us study, get qualifications, and find opportunities for work. It can make us confident and independent. So technology is very helpful to the disabled person. You know, the world-renowned physicist Stephen Hawking is probably the best example of how assistive technology has helped a talented mind overcome physical impairments and contribute productively to the world. So we can now look forward to a more inclusive way of learning instead of the cloistered existence that most differently abled learners had to face in the past. Newer technology allows differently able learners to learn with their peers as well as contribute fruitfully to the collaborative process of learning. This is indeed the new era of learning, truly learning for all. Stephen William Hawking was an English theoretical physicist, cosmologist, and author who was Director of Research at the Center for Theoretical Cosmology at the University of Cambridge at the time of his death. He was diagnosed with an AC-onset slow progressing form of motor neuron disease that gradually paralyzed him over the decades. After the loss of his speech, he was able to communicate through a speech generating device. What is inclusive? That is, including all the services or items normally expected or required. That is, we are supposed to include the disabled in all our activities. What is cloistered? That is, sheltered or kept away from outside world. Disabled or kept away from the outside world in the past. But because of technology, now it has opened up the world for them. Technology is not just a tool. It can give learners a voice that they may not have. Physical impairment is not a hindrance to success. Alicia and David became independent, confident, and competent after using the technology. Disability is not an obstacle for success in the case of Stephen Hawking and Helen Keller. Physical impairment is not a hindrance to success. Technology has transformed their lives. This is Stephen Hawking, and I have given question answers. What are the benefits of the internet to the common man? Do you think technology has improved communication? How? Just pause the video and copy down the question answers. What devices are controlled using Act 4 controller? Who says these words? I want everyone to know the difference technology has made in my life. That software helps Alicia to overcome her difficulty in typing. Just pause the video and copy down the question answers in your class book note. Thank you for watching.